All right, folks, it's Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Time to get the show started. Let's go. And good morning, everybody. It's Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast, where we come to you Monday through Friday. Talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas, folks. And when you think of living in Vegas, think living local. I want to welcome you all to the show today. It is Tuesday, and I'm very excited. I'm excited about the day. I'm excited about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing coming in the future. And you're along for the ride. You really are. You're going to be seeing some changes, folks, that I'm just incredibly excited about. And it's really more in keeping with, I don't know, who I am and who I've always envisioned, the organization and the newspaper and the magazine and all this stuff to be. So anyways, I want to welcome all of my friends and countrymen from around the Fruited Plain. Let's see what we're doing here on Facebook. And gotta make sure I gotta get to the. So what we'll do is we're going to go on to some of the Facebook pages and stuff like that. Very excited. I got a story to tell you about this morning that is I'm really pretty interested in because of the nature, the very nature of the announcement. And so if you're on one of our group pages, you're on one of our Black Success magazine page, you're on Livin Weekly. I'm on there right now, so I'm just updating it right now. Actually, I got really busy early this morning and couldn't get my pages all up, so I'm opening them up right now. And but if you'd like to get on there and say hi, I'd love to say hello to you also. And looks like people are already getting on, which is great. So it's kind of cool to see people up early, bright early this morning. I looked out my window this morning and I told my wife, I said, honey, we've got the prettiest view out our window. Looks off our patio and then off into the distance. There's a tennis court out there and stuff like that. And it just looks really cool. And I said, the only problem we have, honey, is we need to clean the windows. So that's part of my job today. We're finishing up the magazine. Some of you, this might be the first time you're hearing about us. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine. This is the current issue. It's actually, we're working on the July issue right now. It's almost out. We're actually going to have that out here in just a couple more days. I know. Very cool. And we also put out Livin Weekly magazine. And I want to apologize to everybody once again. We did not get out this week's Livin Weekly magazine, but we're going to get, this, we're going to wait and just pack everything into another week. And I guess this dovetails. If you would like to work on a magazine or you'd like to be a part of the team, send me your info. Okay, just send me your info. And all you have to do is send it to livininvegas.com, info@livininvegas.com, and say, sure, I want to be a part of the team. I'd like to be a part of what you're doing. And because we've got so many things we want to do. And there's only a couple of us here that are working on everything else. And so we really encourage you, if you'd like to be a part of the team, folks, or you'd like to advertise in the magazine, Livin in Vegas, definitely let us know about that. Okay. Let's pay a couple of bills here really quick here, folks. We'll get on with the show and looking really excited about this. Okay, here we go. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Vegas Livin Expos is coming to your door August 3rd. We got a lot of things to talk to you about Vegas Livin Expos, and very excited about this too. We've already got a lot of people who have said, "Hey, I want to be a want to be a vendor." We're actually going to July 1st. We're actually going to be um, making a major announcement about vendor booths and stuff like that. So you'll definitely want to listen up for that if you're interested in being a part of that. So that's Vegas Livin Expos coming up August 1st. So let's talk a little bit about the 800-pound gorilla that's in the auditorium right now, and that's 4th of July. Yay! I go. 4th of July is just around the corner, folks, and if you've been a part of Las Vegas for any length of time, hey, you've lived here for 5, 10 years, you know that Las Vegas pulls out all the stops when it comes to 4th of July. It's a festive time, fireworks, all kinds of stuff. Well, the fireworks booths are already open right now, and of course, the fire department, all the affiliates are all talking about the same thing. They're all saying be very careful because in the last, I don't know, last 15, 20 years, people have been getting nuts. So it's just been getting fires, all kinds of stuff, and people setting off bottle rockets. See, it's not like it was when I was a kid. See, when I was a kid, bottle rockets were the norm. M80s, firecrackers, actually dynamite. We were stupid. But nobody got killed. And it seems like nowadays people are just nuts. They just don't know how to shoot off fireworks. They're always starting fires. Now, fires in those days, so we would have probably had more fires in the old days if there were more structures. When I was growing up in Las Vegas, there weren't as many buildings as there are now. There's a lot more open spaces. So maybe that was probably the reason why we didn't have as many fires. But we just didn't. We just didn't have as many fires in those days. And so they're putting out war advisories saying, "Hey, look, guys, be very careful because guess what? There's a chance for fires." So there was a let's talk about some of the places where they're actually going to be having celebrations. And this is actually I'm going to give you a partial list because I've got the entire list coming out in the upcoming edition of Livin in Vegas magazine. Because we're going to talk about fireworks. We're going to be talking about the whole thing. So it's very cool. So it's going to be this year, Caesar's Palace will be the only strip hotel and casino to have a fireworks show. I did not know that. Is that true? Really? Since 4th of July falls on a Monday this year, the fireworks show will start a little earlier than previous, 8:30 p.m. So now that's kind of disappointing. Okay, and the reason why I say that is because in the past, many of you have seen this before. In the past, it wouldn't just be Caesar's Palace. It would be the Bellagio. It would be Treasure Island. It would be, I mean, all the way down the strip, up and down the strip. Sometimes on both sides of the road, you would have a fireworks display. I've got pictures before the area on Eastern was all built out. So Eastern, we're talking about between Warm Springs and Windmill. Before all that was built in, my brother-in-law has a house up there, up on top of a hill. And some of you know where this is at. We're near Wigwam. Okay, actually right across from Wigwam and Eastern. My brother-in-law's got a parcel of land up there. Well, his house is on the top of the hill up there, which was the highest point in the valley at that time. So we would go over to his house, and many of you know my brother-in-law. His name is Chip. We would go to his house and watch from the balcony of his house because it faces the strip and watch the fireworks. Glorious. I mean, one year we watched it, and it was just 8-10 minutes of show, and just firework after explosion, after light, after you can hear the music of, and when it was all said and done with, you're breathing because there was so much activity, and this was literally, I don't know, 15 years ago, something like that. So it was maybe even longer than that. But it looks like this year, Caesar's Palace is going to be the only strip property that is going to have a fireworks show. Sorry about that, folks. it's just really kind of sad. It'll be shot off the top of Julius Tower. Okay, but that's all right because there's going to be fireworks around the other parts of the valley. The Summerlin Council Patriotic Parade is going to have it. So they're also going to have, I guess, 94.1 is going to be there, and they're going to be the radio station, and they're going to be doing a simulcast, which will be cool. You'll actually have Sherry Swensk will be out there. Everybody loves Sherry Swensk. They really do. Everybody does. She's the weather girl over at Channel 8 News. And we'll actually put a link to this story so you can actually check it out. You'll see it on our website at livinvegas.com. So, station casinos will be having fireworks at all six of their casino properties. So you'll see it over at, so even up here on the west side of town, the northwest side of town, over at Santa Fe Station will be great. Out in Henderson. Henderson will have their 4th of July celebration, which is always fun. It really is always fun out there. They started it, and they have not had it since 2019. So it'll be great. And we'll give you all the times and everything else and what will happen. M Resort is going to have one. Lake Las Vegas. Lake Las Vegas is actually pretty cool. If you've gone out to Lake Las Vegas, and many of you, picture this. If you have not been out to Lake Las Vegas, I wish I had a picture of it so you could actually see it. Lake Las Vegas is probably one of the most beautiful places in the valley, period, just bar none. We go out to Lake Las Vegas on occasion, not as much as we used to. And the reason why we go out there is it's like a village. So the Lake Las Vegas, so you go on Lake Mead Boulevard or go to Boulder Highway east as far as you can go till it hits Lake Mead Boulevard, make a left, and then follow Lake Mead Boulevard all the way into the Lake Mead area. On the left-hand side, you'll see a turnoff that says Lake Mead, Lake Las Vegas. And if you follow that back, there's like a village out there. So you can tell already it's like 20 miles away. And you can go out there and you are in a whole different world. I mean, you really are. It's just a whole different world. And when they first built it out there, they had such high hopes for it. But it really just never caught on. I don't understand why. Because we go out there. Quite a few of my friends live out there. Evie lives out there, and the judges, a couple of Judge Eric and his wife Susan, they live out there. They're judges here in Las Vegas. And a couple other friends just moved out there. Celine Dion lives out there. Very cool spot, though. I mean, just cool. If you want to understand what cool is, go out to Lake Las Vegas. It's very cool. So when they have a light show out there, you can do the jazz out there. They've got a couple of hotels out there, a whole village scene with shops and stuff like that. It's just it's well done, just well done. I just don't know. Maybe what they need out there is a vineyard or a something else is a draw to get people to come out there all the time, because that's really what they need. It's just a beautiful place. Hire me out there, folks. I'll show you how to draw people out there. So they're going to be having something out there at Lake Las Vegas. Also, I did not see. Oh, the ballpark is going to be stuff out there. All right, so here's what I wanted to get to. The Boulder City. Boulder City's Jamboree celebration. Now, Boulder City, for some of you who've never been to Boulder City, and let's see, I'm going to ask the question, has anybody been out to Boulder City? If you have, let me know. I've got some people who are out on our Facebook pages. If you love us on YouTube, definitely let me know that you love Boulder City too, Las Vegas, or Boulder City, Nevada. We call it Las Vegas because it is so close to Vegas. It's actually closer to, Boulder City is closer to my house than Mount Charleston is. And Mount Charleston, I could see Mount Charleston from my house. It's so close that we call it part of Las Vegas. That's how close it is to Las Vegas. So anyways, they have a an ambiance in Boulder City, just like no other place in the valley, because it is so homespun. It's so Americana. They don't have a casino out there. There's no gambling out there at all. So it's a whole different. I mean, it's a whole different thing. You can go out to Boulder City, and I've been out there many, many, many times. Matter of fact, my wife and I used to it was our getaway. It was our getaway from our restaurant here in Las Vegas. We would leave and go to Boulder City to just have a getaway. Stay at the Boulder Dam Hotel, go across the street to the uh, Hoover Dam or the Boulder Dam Brewery, and just hang out there. And it's a slice of Americana. Think of white picket fences, grassy knolls, bunting. They have their parade, and when they have Fourth of July, it really is. I think that's where we're gonna go. I think so, because it's just very fun, just fun to do. But so they're having their jamboree out there, which is going to be fun, and should be very cool. Anyways, we'll leave a link to it and much more on our website at livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. And folks, if you'd like to watch the rest of the show, we're going to say goodbye. But if you'd like to watch the show, folks, watch the rest of the show, head on over to our website, livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. We have a lot more articles, links, stories. We'll be linking to the stories we'll be talking about on the podcast here, and so much more. So check us out on our website at livininvegas.com. We'll have this show up and running in about another 15 minutes or so, and you can check it out. If not, we'll see you again tomorrow for Livin in Vegas podcast. This is Sherman Ray. We'll see you again tomorrow for the Livin in Vegas podcast. Bye-bye. All right, folks, and we are back. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to welcome everybody who's said you're going to stick around, which is really cool. We got so much more to talk about. We really do. And one of the things we're going to be working on with the show and with the website and the whole thing is we're going to be talking about the real reason why you're here in Las Vegas. Yeah. So what's the real reason why you're here in Las Vegas? It's the coolness factor, folks. That's really what it's all about. You're here and the reason why a lot of people move to Las Vegas is not because we've got great weather, okay? Because face it, folks, we're the driest place on the planet. We're the driest place in the United States. We're a desert. We're in the middle of nowhere. Desert. But if you're looking to be cool, Vegas is the place to be. We're the only place where our history still lives on. And we want to usher in a comeback of the cool. Oh, yeah. So things have changed over the years. A lot of things have changed. Now, I grew up in Vegas. I mean, I've been here since early 60s. So I've seen the 60s, the 70s, 80s. I mean, I've seen all those years here in Las Vegas. And I remember really well how cool it was here in Vegas. I remember the lounge lizards. I remember when you could go to lounge shows all the time. I remember when the Rat Pack was here. Okay? Elvis, Wayne Newton in his prime. Elvis in his prime. Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra. All those guys in their prime, I've seen all of them. I was an entertainer years ago, so I remember Lola Falana. She was my heartthrob. So as an entertainer, one of the things that I was, and I was an entertainer in the 80s here, so that was when cool still was still here. I mean, it was still here. After the 80s, things kind of changed. It really did. It just changed dramatically, and it got kind of commercial. So now that you have, I mean, it's not that you don't have cool acts here now. It's not that we still have some of the coolest acts that are on the planet here, but it's different. So we want to bring back the cool in Vegas, and you can be a part of it, folks. Oh, yeah. We've got a whole generation of people that need to remember what it was like in the old days in Vegas, and a return to Vegas, a return to wearing ties, drinking out of a highball glass, and enjoying a night without getting so and having fun. Just having fun in Vegas. So when I went to school in Vegas years ago, and we'll get to a couple of stories here. Um, it was when the nightclubs were jumping. It was when disco was going on, and I used to work at one of the years ago. And this is after I came off the road. I was just, I sang on the road for a number of years, and I was at a club called Botany's Nightclub. Many of you probably remember Botany's Nightclub. Remember Jubilee and places like that. Well, we want to usher those times back into Las Vegas. I really believe that people are looking for that. They're looking for a return to cool. They're looking for a return to, Vegas the way it used to be, man. I mean, where they're drinking martinis, sitting by the pool. Oh, yeah. And things were so much different then. They weren't $500, for bottle service, you know, which some people are digging that. But in those days, if you were spending $500, you were big balling. So, anyways, we're going to talk more about that as time goes on. I'm really excited about it, and excited about some of the things we're planning to do as a result of it. Many of you know that we did a happy hour, and I love the happy hour, but it just didn't fit, just didn't click, just didn't do what we thought it was going to do, and I know why now. I really do know why. It's because that's not what everybody was looking for. Everybody was looking for something different. They expected something different from us. We didn't deliver, but now I think we got it. I do. So looking forward to that. Let's talk about another story here. Let's talk about real estate. Okay, let's just talk about real estate for just a minute. And there's a realtor who says that the future for the housing market, and many people know that the housing market here in Vegas is like through the roof, even with the slowdown in the housing market, just like a little smidge. Matter of fact, the place just sold right across the way from me here, and it sold for. Let me see how much I bought this place for. Give me 1 second here, and I'll tell you how much it sold for compared to what I bought my place for, and I'll tell you this is an amazing number. Okay, so from that. It sold for, excuse me, that's divided by 280. That's wrong. 24 times? No, 4 times. 5 times the amount of what I bought my place for. 5 times, I should know math, right? 5 times. So what would that be? 500%? Pretty amazing. Just sold. So the market's still going up. So anyways, this realtor says that you're going to be able to buy your homes from in the future using crypto, using Bitcoin, which is pretty crazy. I think that might be a problem. That's just me personally, but that's what they think is going to happen. In a different story, folks, they say over on the west side of town, the historic west side of town, and I'm trying to rush to get to this story because it's actually a pretty cool story. Historic west side of town, they're planning on building an African American museum. Oh, wow! This is actually different, and it actually has potential here. So if you've gone over the historic west side, which is like off Bonanza, so Bonanza would be on the south side. On the east side, let's say Las Vegas Boulevard, on the train tracks. On the north side, literally the historic west side is basically, let's say, not even Craig Road, Cary. Okay, let's just say Cary. And then on the west side, MLK or Rancho. Okay, one of the two. It depends on probably Rancho. Let's say that. Okay, so it's a big square. It is one of so the history of Las Vegas. For many of you who don't know the history of Las Vegas, there were two parts of Las Vegas. One is the downtown area, which is the original town sites of Las Vegas. The other side was Tom Williams area, and that was over on the historic west side of town. And they were competing basically to see what side of town everybody was really going to live in. And so the historic west side um, was not the favored side. I'll just put it that way. Was not the favored side. Literally, they didn't want to pave the roads, didn't want to give them water, and that's where historically all of the African Americans who came to Las Vegas in those days lived. And the folks who had the original town site, which is in the downtown area, Fremont Street, that kind of stuff, said, "Hey, we're going to starve these guys out." Okay, so the historic West Side has never ever been something other than what it is today. It was actually a little bit more because there were more homes down there. There was more hotels down there. The Moulin Rouge, that kind of stuff was down there. But it never really did anything. And I know when I was a small child, we lived there for a few years, and it was just it never, you know, it was just never, what you uh, would call a built up area. Okay, so they're trying to change that now by bringing in an African American museum. Congratulations to Councilman Cedric Creer for putting in an effort to do something down there. That area has been so underfunded for so many years, and every city council person that comes down there, every person who says they're going to do something, literally fails. And it's not because um, there's not a potential down there. Okay, that's not the problem with the historic West Side. Okay, um, so Andre Agassi actually has probably put in the most money down there because he actually started school down there, and it's still down there. The prep is down there. So we're looking forward to that. So we'll leave a link to some of they don't have everything down what they're actually going to do down there yet. So we'll leave a link to this story because I'd love to find out what they're actually going to do in the historic West Side because literally I've watched it for years and years. When I was a small child, that downtown area, H Street, F Street, G Street, was the downtown area for the black community. And I remember it very well. The Carver House, I remember the Cove Building, all those places down there. I remember those very well because I was a small child at the time. As a matter of fact, I went to school down there years ago, so anyways, I remember all that stuff. And so when I saw this story, I said, "Oh, this is going to be pretty cool." Um, we've got a lot of stuff. Let's get back to living in Vegas. So we are going to be putting out simultaneous the new magazine, Living in Vegas magazine. We're almost done with it right now. If you would like to advertise in it, folks, this is really imperative that you get this. If you'd like to advertise in Living in Vegas magazine, just send me your information. Okay, send me your information. We'll actually get a hold of you, and we will talk about what we can do to get you in the magazine. Okay, we're still digital at this time, so it's not as though we can't change it at the last minute. So, but you've got to get a hold of me pretty quick because we're actually going to go out Friday. Okay, Friday is where really it's going out, and once it's out, I'm probably not going to change it. Okay, simultaneous to that, we'll actually have Livin Weekly magazine. Very excited about the issue of Livin Weekly magazine. So many things that are going on, and we're returning to cool, folks. Okay. Anyways, we will see you again tomorrow for Living in Vegas magazine. And remember, tomorrow we're actually going to be doing another podcast. And I don't know if we'll be able to. I'll see if I can get the rights to that podcast so we can put it on Living in Vegas magazine. But we'll be down at Caesar's Palace tomorrow, so we'll be doing a podcast for a great friend of mine for Chic Compass magazine. Thank you for asking me, and I love being a part of it. We'll be interviewing a really pretty famous fashion designer over at Caesar's Palace, so I'm very excited about that too. Anyways, we'll see you again, folks, tomorrow for Living in Vegas magazine, where we'll talk about the people, places, the trends, events that shape the city of Las Vegas, folks. When you think of living in Vegas, think living local, think the return of cool. We'll see you again tomorrow, folks. Bye bye.